6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Hassan Gilani. First, the headlines. International Labour Day is being observed today to highlight contribution of the labour class in the development and measures to minimize their hardship. Prime Minister has directed for comprehensive arrangements to ensure safety of people and infrastructure during the torrential rains in the country. Minister for Religious Affairs has expressed commitment to provide hassle-free and the best possible facilities to Pakistani intending Hujjaj this year. A two-day meeting of Special Envoys on Afghanistan under the auspices of the United Nations begins in Doha today. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian forces in their unabated acts of state terrorism martyred 21 Kashmiris during the last 4 months. China has agreed to discuss and settle differences with Philippines over fishing rights in the South China Sea. And now the news in detail. International Labour Day is being observed today to acknowledge and commend the invaluable contributions of the labour class in development and prosperity. The fundamental objective of observing the International Labour Day is to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the working class, create awareness about their rights and protect them from exploitation. In this connection, rallies are being taken out by labourers and other organisations in various cities to highlight the significance of the day. President Dr. Arif Alvi and Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif, in their separate messages on International Labour Day, have paid rich tribute to the labourers for their hard work and stressed protection of their rights. The President in his message said, "This year we are observing Labour Day with the resolve to reaffirm our commitment to the dignity of labour." He said the labour force is backbone of our economy and it is highly essential to take steps for protection of their rights by strictly enforcing the labour laws. The Prime Minister in his message also expressed the commitment to improve the working and living conditions of the workers and to supplement their welfare by providing them better housing, education and health facilities. The Prime Minister said the government has initiated programs of vocational training and skills development to enable workers to get their due share in job markets within and outside the country. Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif has directed the federal and provincial departments to remain alert and use all resources to help the citizens during the current spell of rains. According to a statement released by the Prime Minister's office today, the Prime Minister directed National Disaster Management Authority and provincial management authorities to keep close monitoring of the rains across the country. He said the federal departments should work in collaboration with the provincial governments and departments to cope with the situation. The Prime Minister said all the requirements should be fulfilled in the respective areas to ensure safety of the people. He said wherever necessary, people should be shifted to safe areas immediately and the National Highway Authority and other relevant departments should monitor the inter-provincial national highways. Minister for Religious Affairs Muhammad Talha Mahmood says all possible facilities will be provided to Pakistani pilgrims during this year's Hajj and no compromise will be made on the quality of services. In a statement today, the minister said he is personally supervising all aspects of the Hajj arrangements and emphasized that the ministry is working tirelessly to ensure a comfortable and hassle-free experience. He confirmed that the best accommodation and quality of food arrangements are already underway and the travel facility for intending pilgrims would be top-notch. A two-day meeting of Special Envoys on Afghanistan under the auspices of the United Nations begins in Doha, Qatar today. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Hina Rabbani Kar is representing Pakistan at the summit to present country's perspective vis-a-vis Afghanistan. Besides attending the meeting of Special Envoys on Afghanistan, she will also hold bilateral meetings with the leaders of other participating countries. Chaired by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the meeting brings together major international and regional countries to discuss the ongoing situation in Afghanistan with a view towards towards constructive engagement. The Foreign Office in a statement said that Pakistan will continue to support all efforts to advance the shared objectives of a peaceful, stable, sovereign, prosperous, and connected Afghanistan. This is Radio Pakistan. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian forces in their unabated acts of state terrorism martyred 21 Kashmiris, including 3 teenagers, during the first 4 months of the year. According to Kashmir Media Service today, at least 50 civilians were injured due to use of brute force by Indian Army and police on defenseless people. All parties Hurriyat Conference leadership has said that the recent speech by Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir at Pakistan Military Academy Kakul is evident of the fact that people of Jammu and Kashmir are not alone in their struggle for right to self-determination. Member of Parliament of Australia North East State Queensland, Dr. Emmy Macmillan, has voiced over the blatant rights violations by Modi regime in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In Sudan, fighting between rival military factions continues in Khartoum despite a ceasefire extension. The army said it was attacking the city to flush out the rapid support forces. Earlier, both sides had agreed to extend a much violated humanitarian ceasefire for next 3 days till Wednesday. Meanwhile, the United Nations has warned of a humanitarian breaking point. The health ministry says at least 528 people have so far been killed and 4,599 wounded during the fight, which erupted on 15th of last month. China has agreed to discuss and settle differences with Philippines over the fishing rights in the South China Sea. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., while talking to reporters in Manila, said he has pushed for a direct communication line with Beijing on maritime differences. Marcos said a map of fishing grounds will be presented to Beijing. North Korea has criticized a recent U.S.-South Korea agreement to bolster the deployment of American strategic assets in Korean Peninsula. The state media KCNA said today the agreement stipulates the allies' willingness to take the most hostile and aggressive action against North Korea. He said the stationing of American strategic assets has placed the situation of the Korean Peninsula in a quagmire of instability. In Ukraine, there are reports of airstrikes and missiles fired by Russian forces at targets across the country. Officials said 34 people were wounded and dozens of homes damaged overnight. Ukraine said 15 of 18 cruise missiles were successfully shot down, shielding the capital Kyiv. Meanwhile, Ukraine is preparing to unleash its counterattack using hundreds of armored vehicles and tanks supplied by the West. In Uzbekistan, people have overwhelmingly voted in favor of constitutional referendum. Addressing press conference in Tashkent today, chairman of the Central Election Commission, Nizomurdev Zayuddin, said 90.21% of votes were polled in favor of the new legislation. He said the polling turnout was above 90% in all 14 regions, including Tashkent, Samarkand, and other rural areas in which classes participated. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says the newly launched video streaming platform PTV Flix will enrich PTV's content, which has touched the minds and hearts of countless Pakistanis over the decades. In a tweet today, he said, "It is a great initiative and the content will now be accessible to overseas Pakistanis as well." Finally, the weather. Dry weather is expected in plain areas of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, wind, thunderstorm is expected in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Islamabad, Upper Central Punjab, Balochistan, Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. Isolated heavy rainfall, hailstorm is likely in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Kashmir and Potuhar region. And this is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, please log on to our website facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.